We, hapana.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you for joining in. We are waiting for more to join in. We'll be taking the lesson today. I am Madam Esther. So today we're going to do functional skills in Form 4. So please make sure you pay attention and take notes, because whatever is being taught today or in the other lessons to come, we're not going to repeat it once you go back to school. So please make sure you pay attention and take notes.
Easy. Nimeamka nikienda nikachukua book nikaenda kusoma kwa office.
Mlikuwa mnabonga shit man, ongeeni sasa.
maza
Delmo unabonga ni kama mtashinda nini?
Hadi champe kufika itakuwa ngumu.
It's not an illusion, bare confusion, gun conclusion. Big back moving, auto cruising, so freaky I might do that.
Big boy.
Okay, so we're going to start with the recipe. So a recipe is a set of instructions that you need to follow in order for you to deliver a meal.
Mwalimu, please zoom.
Yes.
I was requesting that you zoom your screen. We can't see the notes.
Okay.
So you can zoom on your own screen.
Is that better?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So like I've said, a recipe is a set of instructions that you're supposed to follow for you to deliver a meal. Whatever is required is the ingredients first, because you can't prepare a meal without the ingredients. So you have to list them in order of what you're going to use first. Then also the method of cooking. So you know there are so many methods of cooking: boiling, baking, frying, and so on. So you also have to identify the method that you're going to use to prepare a certain meal. So for most food like cakes and several other foods, you also have to indicate the temperature at which the food should be prepared and for how long, because you're going to put them in the oven. So you have to indicate the temperature and for how long you're going to prepare the meal. Is it 30 minutes? Is it 45 minutes or so? So preparing a recipe, so first you have to write the title. So for any function or rating, especially for every function or rating, you have to include the title. What is this you are preparing? A recipe for this meal, and how many people does it serve? That is also included in the title. For example, a recipe for cooking white rice, it serves 2 people. The recipe is usually written in capital letters and underlined. And for the ingredients, these are the components required to prepare the food and also the quantity. So if it's rice, tell us the quantity that you're going to use. Is it 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of rice? And water, so how many cups of water are you going to use? Don't just write rice, water, salt, without indicating the quantities. Remember, the quantity that you use is what matters, how many people the meal is going to serve. Then after listing the ingredients, you go to the method or the procedure of preparation. The common terms to use in recipe or in the method or procedure are bake, baste, blend, crush, pound, mix, stir, spread. So the steps should be easy to understand and the steps should follow systematically. So what comes after what? So if it's rice. Yes?
Can you please go back to the screen?
Okay, sorry. So if it's rice, what comes first? So you have to measure the rice first, then you wash it before putting it in a sufuria that you've already boiled water. So make sure the steps follow systematically. So don't start with measuring the rice, then you go to maybe lowering the fire without telling us what followed after you measured the rice. Okay. There's also introduction, but for the introduction, it is optional. So in the introduction, but the introduction is usually listed after the title. So in the introduction is where you tell us the nutritional value of the meal that you're preparing.
Mukiti.
Okay, can I move on to the next?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then lastly, you're also supposed to mention the time that it's going to take you to prepare that meal, okay?
Yes.
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 So below is an example of a recipe.
Yeah, question.
Yeah.
If you don't know the exact time and maybe it is a common food, can you estimate?
Yeah, it's okay to estimate.
Okay.
You don't have to mention the exact, because my rice is going to take 30 minutes, yours is going to take 45 minutes. It also depends on the fire that you're going to put, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So below is an example of a recipe for preparation of cookies for 10 people. Can one person read it?
I use 4 cups of flour, 2 cups of margarine, 2 cups of sugar, 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of milk or water, a pinch of salt. Procedure: beat the eggs into a cup, add the milk or water. Sift sugar, flour, and salt all together. Rub the margarine into the mixture. Add the egg and milk mixture to the flour mixed and knead into a dough. Roll the dough onto the pastry board. Cut the dough into the desired shapes for the cookies. Place the cookies onto the prepared baking pan. Place the baking tin in the oven on the upper shelf and bake at 90. Remove from the oven after 15 minutes and place on a cooling rack. Serve when cool with tea or juice.
Mzima Mike.
Well,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, madam.
Yeah.
I repeat, Amma.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you. Then sometimes if it's a meal that needs an accompaniment, so at the end you can also list that you can state that you're going to serve it with maybe fried meat or something else. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I want to give you a sample question.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yeah.
Do foods have like a conventional way of cooking them? Because there are some people,
Yeah.
when rice, they first boil the water,
Yeah.
while others, for example, myself, I just
Yeah.
put the water and the rice at the same time. So is it like a mistake? Is there a conventional way of doing it? Of doing such?
Do you put rice and water at the same time? Of course, there's one thing that comes before the other.
No. That's what
Unapika ugali bana.
I don't wait for
Urian and Ligino.
I don't wait.
But there's no convention way for you to follow, as long as it works for you, well and good. But there's no way that you're going to maybe a procedure that is supposed to come last, come first. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, or mix up the procedures. They have to follow systematically.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
Okay, as the recipe been tested since 844 began.
Pardon?
As recipe
Yes.
ever been tested since 844 began.
Yeah. Let me check it.
And again, teacher,
Yeah.
by any chance, there are some of us who don't know who are not familiar with the kitchen terms, and I can see, yes, there is a pastry board, and yeah, all those kitchen
Kitchen staffs.
yeah, there are some of us who are not familiar. So
You can familiarize yourself with a few, the ones that are common. For example, a saucepan, that is a must for you to use it. Okay. A spoon, a cup, rolling pin. Okay. Let me send a list of words that you can use. Okay, yeah, a recipe was tested in the year 1999. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, let me just send the question.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
So in the part of the procedure, do you put those dots or do you put numbers?
You can number or use bullets, whichever works for you.
Numbers or bullet.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
For example, in the third last point, when it's saying place the baking tin in the oven on the upper shelf and bake at 90, do you necessarily have to write the degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit, or 90 is enough?
Yeah, it's good for you to write the 90 degrees. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that. So make sure you don't forget to list the quantity and how many people your meal serves.
Please leave back to the ingredients.
Sure. Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
But out of this,
Yeah.
which is your favorite meal to prepare.
Okay, that is not part of this lesson. Okay, I've already sent the question. This is KCSE question for KCSE, sorry, for 1999. You have invited 5 friends to your home and have decided to cook your favorite dish for them. Describe in detail the different ingredients, the amounts required of each ingredient, and the stages in the preparation of the dish until it is ready for serving. So the question does not directly tell you that you're going to rate a recipe. It's up to you. Yeah, so it's up to you to know, after reading the question, it's up to you to know that you're supposed to prepare a recipe. So from the question, who can derive a title?
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Will you please pardon the question?
I already sent it. You have invited 5 friends to your home and have decided to cook your favorite dish for them. Describe in detail the different ingredients, the amounts required of each ingredient, and the stages in the preparation of the dish until it is ready for serving. And one of you to derive a title for the recipe. Russell, Israel.
It's a Russell.
Okay.
So the title will be a recipe for preparation of pilau for
Yeah.
5 people.
Okay. So yeah, the cutting point is the people, because the number of people to serve is already mentioned in the question. So thank you. Okay, list of ingredients to use.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
In such a scenario,
Yeah.
whereby somebody is very unfamiliar with the items used in the kitchen. For example, somebody does not even know the type of flour or if eggs are supposed to be used or not. So what is he or she supposed to do at that point?
Okay, at this point you have to do, okay, for the sake of your exam, you know, okay, wheat flour is common. Okay, so if you're required to prepare cookies, so you know you're supposed to use wheat flour. Okay. Other things you can familiarize yourself with the common things. An example is a saucepan, a spoon, a whisk, rolling pin, wooden spoon. Okay.
What is a
It
whisk?
doesn't have to be complicated.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Madam Elizabeth.
Yes.
maybe I can add on to that.
Yeah.
If you're not sure of the ingredients that are used in the kitchen, when you just approach the exam, you can Google 2 or 3 recipes, or do your research on 2 or 3 recipes that you can use. And just in case that that question comes in the exam, and you make sure that you're prepared, because at the end of it all, you're going to check out whether you know the ingredients very well, whether you have stated the quantities, and also the procedure, the way the procedure is supposed to follow each other. So I advise that just before the exam, at least have 3 recipes. Google, research, think about 3 recipes that you can use, and you will be safe.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Is it always going to be as general as that question was, or will it be given in a specified format? For example, a recipe of cookies, for instance.
Okay, yeah, sometimes yes, but sometimes no. It can be open, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, but just like Madam Esther said, like the way you familiarize yourself with a certain register when going to sit for maybe an imaginative writing, that's the same way you're supposed to do with a recipe. Just familiarize yourself with the register of the kitchen, okay? The words that you're going to use: bake, boil, simmer, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Israel?
So I forgot to know that.
Okay. Jeffrey?
I was asking, does the recipe have to have a minimum number of words?
Not really. There's no limitation to words, but then in describing the procedure, don't use a paragraph. You're supposed to use small, simple, short, simple sentences, okay? Okay, any other question?
How long how long should the recipe be?
Okay, allow me to respond on that.
Okay.
When you look at the functional writing and all the marking schemes, we actually do not look out for the number of words or how long it will be. We just look for the marking points. For example, the way Madam Mukiti has said that you need to have a title, it needs to mention the dish and the number of people you're cooking for. Those are the marking points that you're going to look out for. When you go to the list of ingredients, of course, you need to have a title there that says ingredients, and then of course their quantities. So we're just going to look out for the marking points. So if you have those marking points, it doesn't matter how long or short it is. So you just focus on answering, giving us the specific things that that have been asked in the question. So you shouldn't worry about the length. You shouldn't worry about how much to write. Just ensure that you underline the title, the keywords that are in the question. And once you do that, you'll be safe. You'll get all the marks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other question?
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
So is it possible to have like a wrong recipe? Because as Sasa said, there's like different ways people cook in the kitchen. So are you expected to know a specific way to cook something, or can you like, okay, what exactly are you looking for? Can you have a wrong recipe?
What do you mean by wrong recipe? Because, for example, if you're cooking fish, you expect that you have to have the fish, you have to have the salt, you have to have the oil. There are those basic procedures that that are expected. Yeah. Yes, but the case and scenario of the young man who talked about the rice and the water, if you're able to bring out that you just put in the water and then you put in the rice and then you let the two boil, and you're able to clearly bring it out in the in explanations in the procedure, I think that would be okay. But I'm not very sure what you mean by a wrong recipe, because if you are talking about ugali, there's a certain way ugali is made. There are those ingredients that are expected to be used when you're making ugali. So that I feel like that is a pretty general question. Probably you could narrow it down so that you're able to help you better. Thank you.
Madam, I would like to ask.
Yes.
I would like to ask, when you're given a question, a general recipe question, is it okay to use, would it be better to use a recipe with a long procedure or one with a relatively shorter procedure?
Okay, if you use the long one, as long as you're able to put everything in detail, okay, to capture every procedure or every step, that's still okay. Okay, it just matters the one that you're comfortable in, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're okay to go for the short procedure, well and good. If you're okay to go for the long one and you're comfortable, that's okay.
Well, my second question was, if you're writing a recipe and you're writing the procedure and it's something as like a rice with beef stew, is it possible for you to use shortcuts such as the use of different appliances that reduce the procedure?
Reduce the procedure is in?
Let's say if you were to explain that you'd have to put the rice in as the situation of putting the rice in the water, then adding the salt much later, but there's an appliance that would allow you to just put all those ingredients in and then it would cook itself. Is it okay to use such appliances, or would it be better to just use the conventional procedure?
It's better to use the conventional because also you have to, if it's rice and beef stew, there's no way you're going to mix them both. You have to first of all state the procedure of cooking the rice. After you're done with the rice, then now you go to the beef stew. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And also in mentioning the ingredients, you have to be specific. These are the ingredients for the rice, and these ones are for the beef. Okay, any other question? I hope you're okay with the recipe.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When writing the ingredients
Yes.
in a recipe, can you, for example, you're preparing fish, and then in the recipe, in the ingredients, you mentioned that applying spices. You mentioned some spices, but can you say that adding of those spices is optional?
Yeah, it is optional.
So
Yeah,
you
you
can
can
fail
mention
to,
it.
but you can, okay, you can, let's say you mention it, but in
Yeah.
your procedure, you
Yeah.
failed to mention that you added the spices to the food that you're preparing. Will you be penalized?
Of course, if something is captured in the ingredient, it also has to be seen in the procedure. Okay, then why mention it and you're not going to use it?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Sha,
Yes.
when I go, like you want to cook something like pilau, there are some ingredients that they appear like not to be important, like there in other things, like cook you. Can you
I can
put
hardly
them
hear you.
there? The procedure. I ask
Yeah.
if like I want to cook something like pilau, then there are some ingredients that they look like they are not like those characters. Can I put them in the procedure?
Pardon?
Yes,
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Let's say in the case of that question of 1980 something, that you're
Yeah.
told to cook something for your friends. And let's say that I've decided to cook ugali for them. So after going through that steps of preparing ugali, so will you serve it with another dish, or will you just end as ugali?
Please repeat your question.
Okay, I'm asking.
Yes.
Let's say in that question that you posed, and I've just decided to cook ugali for my friends. So will I serve the ugali with another dish, or I'll just leave it as it is?
It's optional for you to
Leave it as
include
it is.
an accompaniment. Okay. If you're told to prepare a recipe for ugali, then do that. Okay. It's optional for you to mention, serve it with beef stew or something else. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I think at this point we're okay with recipe. I'll invite Madam Esther to start us on CV.
Okay, good morning, class. Let me respond to a few questions I've seen here before I move to the CV. Somebody is asking whether it can be tested in KCSE. Yes, it can be tested. And probably it would be tested maybe like 10 marks, and then another 10 marks you can be asked to send something, to send the CV via email to your friend. So probably it could be combined, but yes, it is possible that it can be tested. I advise all my students that by the time you walk into KCSE, at least have an idea of the format in different functional writings, and that way you'll be safe. So it is better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, so I think that's it with the CV. Sorry, with the recipe writing. But let me mention one more thing, that we test it in the functional writing, that is question 1 in the oral skills, which is usually 20 marks, and we'll give quite a number of marks for the language that is used. So usually 8 marks. Here we give it a category, that this is an A category, this is a B category, C category, or D category. So once ensure that you have written in proper English, make sure that you have gone through your recipe, you've made all the corrections, so that your English can score at a B or an A, and that way you will be safe when you give out your paper. So now I want us to look at the CV. Let me share a screen, and then we can proceed.
Cheki man, tafadhali achana na hizo stuff man. We are in a class
Kuna
of
heshima
lesson.
bana.
Mazina.
Bro bana.
Check hiyo nini man.
Please man, have a ticket man.
Ni nani huyo?
All right.
Bro, classes zinarekodiwa.
please. Madam Elizabeth? Hello, Madam Elizabeth?
Hello, yes.
Could you please help with you tackle the question a bit? I'm having a challenge with my notes.
The question on?
The one that you have posted on the CV as I share my screen in a few minutes. Thank you.
Okay, let me check. Where have you posted it?
It was on the comment section.
Okay. Could someone please repost it? Madam Esther?
Yes, yes.
Please repost the question.
Okay, in a bit.
Tabela. Jesus. Unataka hivi kena just screen hivi.
So as you wait for Madam Esther, the CV was tested in 2012. So the question was an advertisement. So you were supposed to, an advertisement for a job. So you were supposed to write an application letter in response to the advertisement. So the application letter is 10 marks. Then after you write the application letter, you write an accompanying CV.
Okay, let's just proceed. Let me just share with as we proceed. Sorry about that. So let's I know some of us, most of us have written a CV, and I would say that a CV is a brief account of your education and career. This is a skill that we need to all acquire. I'm sure by now some of us have CVs. If some of us don't have them, we're supposed to write them immediately after Form 4. And It's just a brief account of your education and career. So we say that it is a document that gives a potential employer a picture of a prospective employee. Remember that this this employer doesn't know you. The only way you can they can get an idea of who you are is through a CV. And in most cases, a company will put out an advertisement, and maybe they're calling for applications for a particular job, and you as an individual, you're supposed to respond to that advertisement. And in most cases, it will ask you to send a CV and also accompany that with an application letter. So you need to write a good CV. It should be carefully planned, right? It should be attractive. It should be well organized. It should be easy to read, and it should be free of errors. In this nowadays, when your company send out advertisements, you find that you have more than 400 applicants, and they do not actually know this applicant. So your CV is the only thing that will sell you out as a worthy competitor in this job that you're trying to apply for. So you have to ensure that the CV is that the CV is well organized, it is attractive, it gives people this potential employer a very positive picture about you and your abilities. Okay. In the meantime, let me see if I can be able to. Madam Kitty, please try and see that you can project that as I proceed.
Who's that?
We
Tafadhali.
Surely.
Jerome, kindly behave.
Oh my God.
Kindly behave, bana.
Acha ujinga bana.
Okay.
Nataka kusoma.
Yeah, it's okay. Just we are going to take action. Just ignore them for now. Yes. So this is a sample. I'm sorry I was not able to project the notes, but I'm going to send the notes to you in the process. But I've also I'm having a challenge with the login, right? Yeah. So this is a sample of a CV, and I'm going to make reference to it as we proceed. So the first thing that you need to have is your personal details. These are some of the features of a CV, and the first feature is personal details. And you say that this provides the information that an employer needs in order to get in touch with you. Okay, this includes your names in full, your postal address, your phone number, your email address, and your mobile number. Okay, so have your names in full, have your postal address, that if this employer decides to send to you a letter, you're able to receive that letter. If they would want to communicate to you via email, please indicate your email address and ensure that you have your mobile phone number. Then you say that there are other details that are also included in that part, this first feature, that is personal details. You can have your date of birth, you can have your religion, you can have your gender, you can have your nationality, and your marital status. And we go ahead and say that the date of birth, the religion, the gender, the nationality, and marital status are all optional, and you only include them if you feel that they're essential for you to get this particular job that you're applying for. Okay. Yeah. For example, if there's an advertisement from the UN that they are setting up a camp in a particular country, for example, in Ethiopia, and they are calling in for applications. Okay. Then probably you're an Ethiopian. If you say that that is your nationality, maybe it could give you an upper hand. Okay. Or for example, if the government would like to have certain initiatives in maybe like Turkana, they want to set up an oil plant in Turkana. So maybe what they can, by mentioning that you're from Turkana, probably it would give you an upper hand because of maybe the fact that you have to interact with the people on the ground, and you can understand each other because of the language. Maybe that would give you an upper hand. Okay. For example, if it is a job that is connected with your gender, Okay, for example, it is it's an organization that would like to set up a an organization that helps maybe women deal with issues. For example, if I mention my gender that I'm female, maybe that would give me an upper hand. But we are saying that all these are not they are optional. That is the date of birth, the religion, the gender, the nationality, and the marital status. If only they are essential for you to get the job. Okay. Yeah. So again, we also have the career objectives, and you said this is a statement that indicates the type of job that you're looking for, the attributes that you can bring to the job, and what you think you can achieve for the employer's benefit. Remember that when you put up this CV, when you're applying to this job, it is always for the employer's benefit, okay? And they need to see what value are you going to add to the company, right? What makes you a worthy competitor, all right? What makes them choose you? Maybe say that maybe you can get even 400 applicants, right? What makes you stand out? What makes your CV stand out? Okay, so you can do that in a statement under a subtopic known as a career objective. This is a statement that indicates the type of job that you're looking for. For example, maybe you're an engineer, okay? The attributes that you can bring to the job, right? And what you think you can achieve. You can achieve for the employer's benefit, right? Then after that, you can go to the experience. This is where you provide the following information. You can cross-check that with what I've projected on the screen. Here you provide the following information: the titles of the jobs that you previously held. The title is very, very important. Okay, for example, there we can see 2004 to the present. This particular Kefa Koki was an administrative assistant to the marketing manager, Maringo Bottling Company, Nairobi. So the title of the job there is an administrative assistant. Okay, and then also you provide dates on the dates during which these jobs were held. And clearly you can see that these jobs were held, this job was held to from 2004 maybe to the present time. This CV shows that he wrote this when he was still, the CV is current, when he's still in his particular job. And then the name of the employer, we can see that this is the Maringo Bottling Company. And the location of the employer, this is Nairobi, and the specific achievements made at each job. Okay, so probably you can look at this to see that the work, the specific job description is given, analyzing sales reports and writing summaries of challenges facing the salesperson in the field. Okay, for example, if you're in the techie world, and you're developing softwares, you can say that some of the achievements that you made, that in this particular company, that you're able to develop a software that helped you to that helped the company to track the number of sales, and significantly the number of sales went up. So it is important to mention these experiences, and of course you start with the most current experience. Like in whatever projected, you can see that from 2000 and 2003, he held a job as an assistant to the personnel officer, that is Maringo Bottling Company in Nairobi. So what are some of the job descriptions? You have your coordinated publicity activities, you supervise the administrative staff, you participated in organizing workshops and seminars. So those are the specific job descriptions, okay? And then you go ahead and you give the specific achievements. This employer needs to see these achievements so that they can feel that you're the best person for this particular job. And then the other experience is from 1998 to 2000. This is where the sales representative for Maringo Bottling Company, he was a sales representative for Maringo Bottling Company, that is in Nairobi, and he simply assisted customers and designed merchandise displays. Okay, so ensure that you have the experience. Remember to capture the experience that is required for this particular job. Remember that each CV has to be tailor-made for a specific job, this job that you're applying to, so that you can respond to their needs, to the employer's needs. And then after that, we can go back to the other feature that is important is the education, your education background, and this provide information on your primary school, your high school, your college, or university education. And here you need to include the name of institutions attended, the names of institutions attended. If it is primary school, you say the name of the primary school that you attended and the specific qualification that you attained. Of course, you attained the KCPE certificate, and then the dates those when those institutions were attended, and also the qualifications that were attained. Okay, and remember that you need to start with the most recent. If you are writing that CV right now, you would say from the dates that you got into Alliance High School to present, you talk of Alliance High School, and then of course what you aspire to get, and then after that you go back to the primary school, you state the name of the primary school and also the certificate that you got when you finished with primary school. Also for the college or university education, you can see here on the CV that I've projected there, 1997 to 1998, there's a certificate in sales and marketing. That is the qualification. And then of course, the college, where was it? The institution, that is College of Business Studies, Kehancha. Okay, and then the qualifications was on the Dean's List from 1997 to 1998, or I was awarded an academic scholarship in 1997, or you can say that you attained a distinction or whatever grade that you got. If it is a university, you can say whether you got your first class honors, your second class honors, or whatever qualification that you got. And then again, you have 1993 to 1996. That is Kenya Certificate of Education. Which school? Kambala High School, and then of course the qualifications that were attained. That is you organized the scouting movement camps, you wrote articles in the school journal, and participated in organizing the school's environmental days. Okay. Yeah. Then after that, you move to the next section. That is the special skills. The special skills. Here you indicate the skills that may be relevant to the job, such as mastery of several languages, okay, mastery of software programs, experience with certain equipment and machinery, etc. Whatever skill you have that will give you an edge over all the other competitors, please ensure that you put it under this particular subsection, that is the special skills. And then after that, you have we can talk about community service. Sorry, this falls under the hobbies and the interests. Okay, so this topic that I've added here, hobbies and interests, let it come just before the community service. And please go ahead and give us your hobbies. What are your hobbies? And of course, you give hobbies that show they help you to develop as an individual, or they come in quite handy when you're in this particular position that you're applying for. Okay, for example, you can talk of hobbies such as reading, such as writing. Okay, please don't talk about hobbies that will make you look like you're not focused in life. For example, eating, yeah, eating, or you love sleeping, or you love, talk about hobbies that help you to develop, to develop as an individual, and that also give you an edge in this application. And then you can also talk about your interest. That is your interest in community service. You can now put them under hobbies and interests. Then after that, you go to the referees, and you can say that these are people that an employer can contact for information about you. This could be one's teachers or superiors at your place of work. All right. Yeah. So it is important to alert your referees so that they're not caught off guard. And then of course you need to choose referees that can give a positive recommendation. Okay. Yeah. So when you listen the referees, please list of course the name, and then
Excuse
of
me,
course,
teacher. The font size is small.
the font
I'm
size
having
is
a
small.
difficulty seeing. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll sort you out in a few. Okay,
Thank
so like yeah, Mrs. Kemunto Chiaba, all right. Who is she? She's the Dean of Students. In which particular institution? The College of Business Studies and PO Box. Of course, with time we've moved to the email. Please include the email and the phone number. Okay, and then at least have three of them. This would work very well. Then you have Mr. Barnabas Okwiri, that is the principal, Kikambala High School, PO Box, the box 9876. Include the phone number, include the email address. And then Mr. Upendo Kwetu, the personnel manager, Maringo Bottling Company, PO Box. And then of course you add the phone number, and of course you go ahead and add the phone number and also the email address. Okay, so please contact them beforehand. Let them know. Let them know that you're supposed to, you're giving their names as referees, so that when they're called, they're not caught off guard. Okay, yeah. So I see questions whether about lies. Well, if it's in an exam situation, they tell you to imagine that you're this, imagine that you just completed your university education. It is okay. You can imagine, you can be creative. But in a real life situation, it is not advisable to lie in the CV, because when they ask you those particular questions, you will be caught off guard. Okay, yeah. So please avoid lying. And also something else. In the current world, when you appear for that job interview, please internalize, the dates that you went to school, because they might ask those questions, and ensure that there are no gaps. Okay, ensure that there are no gaps. And what do I mean? That in 2000 and from when you finished school, that is you finished in 2022. Yeah, and from 2022 and to 2024, there's nothing that maybe you can talk about in your CV. That is not advisable. And that's why we encourage our students that even if it's community service, participate in community service. Okay, if it is doing online courses that help you in your personal development, please, if it is software development, if it is develop skills. Okay, if it is a business that you can start off that can help you to gain for personal development, and you can even list them in the CV. Okay, you're applying for a job, yet you've been handling even if it's your parents' business, there are those special skills that you gain, so there are skills that can be mentioned, and they work well for you in the CV. Yeah, so let me see. Halton Kibe, I see your hand is up. You have a question?
Yes.
Okay.
In the real life, when you
Yeah.
are
Mhm.
you're writing a CV,
Mhm.
what you have written, and they go and confirm.
In the real life.
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you what happens. When you give the referees, of course, they're going to call the referees, they're going to try and do a background check. Other companies go ahead and do thorough background checks, probably checking through your social medias, checking through whatever you update. Yeah, so yes, they actually do. They actually do their background information, but they can only get as much information as, it's not possible to get all that information. Yeah, so yeah, it is important that you're also up to speed with whatever you write on the CV. Please don't lie on your CV, because they can clearly tell when they invite you for an interview, they can tell when you're lying. So that's why we are saying that instead of lying, and maybe there are those gaps, just try and do some personal development activities that you can mention in the CV, and they're going to work well for you. Is that okay? All right,
Yes.
Leonard Asanga, Obi, I see you have a question.
Yes, madam. First of all, in the address we saw in the previous paper,
yes,
at the point it was written email, it was underlined. Do you have to do that?
To underline the email.
Yeah.
When you're typing, automatically the email will highlight itself. Yeah. So automatically when you're typing, it will underline itself.
So now if you're asked in an exam setup, Do we
Yes.
have to underline the email?
Either if you like it, okay. Not it's a matter of either aesthetic, but it's okay. You can underline.
Okay, and then number two.
Yes.
Also, in the personal details, we saw the date of birth. If you wrote DOB with the dots started between them, will that still be okay?
No, when it comes, because you're going to mark the language, remember you said that the language studies is being given up to 8 marks. We advise that you do not do that. Please write it in full.
So write it in full.
Write it in full.
Okay.
And after you finish that, even after you write in your CV, please ensure that you read through. You don't have any spelling mistakes, you don't have any grammatical errors, both when you're sending out the CV in real life and also during an exam setup. Okay. Because it's going to cost you. And remember that a CV gives the first impression, your first impression. Give the best impression that you can. So let it not have any errors. Let it be written in proper English. Okay. Let it be easy to read. Let it be attractive. Let it be well organized so that it gives you an upper hand. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Coach Onyego.
Yes, madam. I was asking, when writing the educational background, do you begin from the primary school to high school to university, or you begin from university to secondary to high school? Which is the order, or you can use any?
No. You start with the most recent. For example, if you are at the university at the moment, you talk of the date you got to university to present. You mention the university. You mention the course that you're doing. Okay, and of course, because you've not cleared, you can't mention that qualification. Okay, then you go back to high school. You mention the school. You mention the course that you're doing, Kenya Certificate of secondary education, and then you go back to the primary. So you start with the most recent. Okay, if you're writing the CV now and you're in high school, of course, you start with the date that you stepped into Alliance High School. To present, you talk of Alliance High School. Okay, you're scheduled to sit in for KTSC, but of course, you don't mention the qualification because you're not yet done. And then now you go back to the primary school.
So you have to start with the most recent.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Eric Kiondo.
Chair, I was asking, since you've said about applications being sent to companies are usually from a lot of people.
Yes.
When writing a composition on application, do we write a brief application for the purpose of realism, or the length doesn't actually matter?
The length doesn't actually matter, but we say that you need to check out for the needs of this company. And if it is an exam situation, we check out for the marking points. Okay. Yeah. Of course, the CV will go hand in hand with an application letter. Of course, we need to check out for the format of the application letter. That is the writer's address, the recipient's address, the salutation, the subject line. Okay. And of course, it needs to be very direct. It needs to be concise. It needs to be precise, and it needs to respond to the advertisement that was set out in the paper. Of course, you need to mention that. Yeah. So even for the CV, what will happen now when you're starting out, you'll find that you do not have a lot of information to put in the CV. Okay. But by the time you finish your university, you do your master's, you do your postgrad, you do your PhD, you do your research papers, the CV with time becomes bulky. Okay, like a person with a lot of wealth of experience and has done many publications, the CV becomes very bulky. So in the real life situation, you'll find that you might not even need to put up, to put in the primary, the primary qualifications, the high school qualifications, because the CV should not be too long at the end of the day. Okay, so you find that with time, the more you add more experience, the more you add more work, more qualifications, it deletes, it does away with what you got formally. Yeah, but that is for the real life, because it needs to not be very long. Even your particular CV at this moment should not be more than 2 pages, because what exactly are you saying? You haven't gotten all this education yet. You haven't gotten all this experience yet. Of course, it will come with time, but not yet at the moment. So don't write a very, very long CV. However, you can ensure that you capture the details that are required. Okay, for example, this advertisement is talking about a student, a person who has a Bachelor of degrees in engineering. Okay, and maybe you have gone ahead and added some special skills that help you in your engineering. Okay, and then you go ahead and talk about other skills. Yeah, what are some of the skills that you have, right? What are some of the soft skills that you also have? For example, are you able to work as a team? Are you able to, are you able to work as a team? Are you able to be self-driven? Such things to ensure that when you're writing your CV, you're able to capture all these things that are in the advertisement. So that's why we're saying that a CV is not, you don't send one CV to all the applications that you get. You tailor your CV to the needs of the employer, number one. And if it is an exam setup, you tailor your CV to the question that has been asked. Okay? Yes.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up.
All right. Mercy Fuad.
Just a clarification. So when you say you're currently doing a course at the university,
yes,
are you going to like write 2022 hyphen present or 2022 hyphen blank?
Present.
Okay, thank you.
Leonard?
Excuse me, madam. You've just highlighted an area right now.
Yes.
There was this point you've talked about working as a team, self-driven. Is that really allowed to be written in terms of special skills, or would that be a bit too general?
Yeah, you can mention that in the special skills. That is if you're responding to a particular type of advertisement. That is okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So let me see the philosopher, whoever that is. Go ahead. Okay. So do we have any other questions? Checking through your chats, nothing important.
Teacher.
Yes.
So you don't have to write about your primary education if for example you have just the university and the secondary school, you can just do the two.
Okay. No, at the moment you have to, because you have not gathered as much information, as much qualifications as possible. Yeah? But let's say when you're 50, you have added so many other, qualifications. You have done your masters, you have done different postgraduate degrees. Those ones might be overtaken by the events and the fact that the CV again should not be extra long. So that is okay. You can do away with them. But for now, you need it. You need it. You need it. You need it. So ensure
Okay,
that it's
thank
there. Yes. 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 All right. Maximo.
Oh, Cha, I was asking a question. Is it a must to write the head of the institution here you are writing the reference?
The referee.
The referees, yeah.
For example, you want to include a head of the institution, and then you need to mention their title.
Yeah, like here they have written the dean of students, the principals, the personal managers. Can you write somebody else like a teacher or?
Yeah. But you need to mention their. You need to mention their whatever their qualification, yeah, their title.
Oh yeah. I think.
Okay. Brian Macau.
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
When you've been told to write a curriculum vitae while also applying for a job, so at that point you'll be needed or required to make up your qualifications and your lifetime, which does not currently exist, but between university and the qualifications that you have, you need to make up all that.
Yes. If you tell you imagine that you're at the university, yes. But if they tell you to currently write your CV as at now, of course you start with whatever you already have. But now that's why you talk about, you bring in you say things like community service and some of the things that you learned during the community service, or maybe you've been doing online courses that are beneficial, or probably during the holidays you've been teaching at a school nearby, or you've been you've been running a certain business. So it is okay. Please mention those so that they can give you an upper hand. Yeah, so if they tell you to imagine that you are at the university, please imagine and be creative. That is okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think we have any more questions. Let me check through the chat. How do you indicate in the CV that you've moved from one school to another? Just mention the two. The date will give us an idea. Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't think there's anything else important. Yes. Okay. So.
I was asking at the place where we were talking about education and experience, do we really have to arrange the dates from? Okay, I saw you had arranged from the latest date, like
yes,
28 to present time. Then you go from to 1990. Do you have to arrange it that way?
Yes.
Oh,
There's
okay.
no way about it. Yes, you start with the most recent. Even in your when you write your CVs in the real life, yes, it has to. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I don't see any other hand, and I don't see any other important question that needs to be addressed. Yeah. So I think the lesson ends at 11.
There's a question in the chat.
Excuse me. Do we? Okay. Just proceed.
Or do we frame the whole thing?
Oh, framing.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. No, it's not necessary that you frame. It is okay.
Yeah, for functional skills, the short writings are the ones that you're required to frame. But for the long ones, it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
A bull shark. That's right. I've given
Okay. All right. So the lesson ends at 11. Okay.
11. Right
All
now.
Right now. Okay. So enjoy the rest of your day. Yes.
Same to you and thank you, man.
Thank you for the lesson.
There's somebody who is asking what is framing. Framing is just putting borders, eh? Yeah, so you don't need to put borders. The short writings are the ones that you put borders, eh? And the advertisements and the posters, etc. etc. Ryan Jacob, be nice to your friend. Let him ask. Let him know.
Please take action.
That issue of indiscipline, of course, it will be handled.